Coffee with Gaz here with Sandra Rivera. Thank you for walking over to the small conference room.
Thank you for having me on. It's an honor to be here.
It's an honor. I'm honored. Your reason, there's a long list of reasons why I think this place is special, and you're one of them. So hence why we're doing this. I really want to talk about you, showcase you, and I appreciate everything about you. You've been here almost a year.
8 months.
8 months. We're all coming up on that. And I mean, ever since we met, you've had this like tremendous energy. And it's cool. Every morning, I've never seen you in a bad mood, which is kind of weird. Not that I want to see you in a bad mood. You don't have to be, but I just thought you're just the way you carry yourself, your persona, your energy. I thank you for that, because it's your smile every day makes me step up my game.
Thank you.
Plus, I think you're underrated comedian. I would put you maybe, no offense to anybody else in this room, number 2 as the second funniest person in the office.
Does that hurt?
Does that hurt, Luis?
Yeah.
Does that
number
hurt?
1 is Gaz, obviously.
Well,
so
I'm gonna sit in the throne.
I'll take number 2.
You can be the co-host. You're up there as far as the comedy side of it on Instagram. You've got a few reps in.
Thank you.
You and John Michael are right up there.
John Michael's a good one too. He's got jokes.
I appreciate the humor. You have that your word board on the which is pretty creative.
Yeah, I've done a little more serious ones. I don't know if you saw the one Juan put it for me. It says, "Tough times don't last, tough people do."
100%.
Yeah, so it's not a funny one, but it's a good one.
Well, I mean, it's how you feel, and what's funny you bring that up, because knowing not your whole story, but a little bit of your story. Again, it's been 8 months, right?
Yeah.
We'll celebrate the 1 year coming up soon. I think when I think about Sandra, besides you being such a really energetic, great personality, I would think the word resilient is something that would come to my head. You now shifting to this career, do you want to get a little bit about into your story and how you kind of got here? It's funny how we're connecting the dots.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. You were at Regions Bank, which we've actually been pretty successful taking people from Regions. You're in
I'm the third.
They're gonna kick me out pretty soon. Not gonna like me too much.
Yeah, I worked at Regions Bank for over 3 years, and then I worked at a credit union for a little over 2 years after that. And I was just done with banking. I was just done with customer service, face to face, and people throwing their deposit slips at me and just being rude. And I was just over it. And so Luis actually posted on his story that you guys were hiring, and I'm like, I swiped by it because I'm like, yeah, I don't have insurance experience. That's not for me. And then I was like, you know what? I don't lose anything by asking. So I went back. I messaged him. I was like, what requirements do you need?
Right.
How can I apply? Is this even something I'm qualified for? And I sent in my resume, and I was called for an interview. And I think that was the most transparent interview I've ever done, where I literally was like, I don't have insurance experience. You guys know that, but I'm very detailed. I do have, paperwork experience, people experience, and I'm willing to put in the work. And I'm a good learner, and I'm down if you guys will give me the chance.
I concur. See, that's actually pretty cool. I didn't know that small detail about Luis using, social media, right? This is actually, we're here.
Full circle.
Full circle, right? We're coming back. This is a testament. It's work. Same thing happened with Dante. We spoke a couple weeks ago too. Those little nuances and kind of why we're doing this, it's pretty cool. You're a testament of why we do this, and it works. And forget about experience. I mean, you have all the skills. We can teach you insurance after.
Yeah.
But preparing customer service skills, I put you up there as one of the best. That kind of banking experience, you took the punches, right?
Yeah.
To kind of jump into this side of the business.
Yeah, it can be rough because, you're dealing with people's money and your finances. That's your, I don't know, your livelihood. And so it's hard when you can't give them an answer that they want to hear. And it's I'm sorry, but that's the policy, or I'm sorry, but your account's overdrawn. How do I give you bad news in a nice way, and how can I help you move forward? Because we all fall on hard times now and again. So I think learning the good aspects of customer service, that'll help you in any career field. Like,
Yeah, dealing with people and I think that's kind of a skill
yeah, it's
that's
learned.
being lost, right? It's learned through
It's learned.
through experiences. Dealing with people is business. It's funny. We look at sometimes the bottom line. Are we growing as a company? Yes, you could look at a balance sheet and figure and kind of attest to growth, but really how to get there, people lose that people is business.
Yeah.
And being able to deal with different types of people and use that's a skill.
Yeah.
A skill I'm actually worried about with my kids, with our kids. Now that technology is kind of moving to that way, they're losing the ability to connect with people.
Yeah.
It's something that I worry about. I'm not sure you feel the same way. You don't have that problem.
I mean, my son is 2, so I think kids are like a blank page. Like, you can write on that page whatever you want the story to be, because people are like, oh, well, they learned that at school. No, they learned that at home,
Yeah.
because they saw you do it first. And so we always make it a point to like say hi, papi, say bye-bye, say thank you. Even when it's like something that we're giving him, like, ¿qué se dice? What do you say? You say thank you. And he'll say thank you or gracias or whatever. Like, just simple skills like that help you like just be like a nicer person and be like a well-rounded individual. And I think it starts at home.
And it's the little things.
It's the little
things matter.
They make a big difference.
Now, have you always been able, like, can you go back and tell me, like, have you always been able to connect with people? Is that something that's always been natural to you? Or is that more of like the different environments you've been put into that you developed that skill?
I think for me, I mean, I think I just learned it very early on. Like, I used to have to translate for my mom a lot and like for my dad. So I would have to like put my face or like my voice over the phone and just like, oh, my mom says this, and like really try to like listen and pay attention so that I can translate to them so that I can help my parents, or I can, you know, get whatever they need done. And then I've always like worked. I used to work in my parents' friends' restaurant, like in the summers. And so like I've worked with people a lot for many years. And I think I've just learned it early. So that's, at least for me.
You want to grow up fast, go work in hospitality.
Yeah.
That you get a master's degree in dealing with people.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I mean, one thing I want to ask you, going back, I noticed you made a comment, and I want to ask you, like, when you cut your hair recently, which I love it, by the way.
Thank you.
But you made a comment that it meant something to you.
Yeah, I'm not good with long hair, and I don't want to invest all the time into styling my hair and drying it and ironing it and like it makes me sweaty and flustered, and I don't want it in my face, and so I just cut it off. And it means like I'm more comfortable, I feel free, I feel more feminine. Like, the only person I asked was my husband. Hey, are you okay if I cut my hair short again? He's like, yeah, I love it, you look great. It's off.
That's awesome.
I'm cutting it off. So that's what it meant, like just freedom and comfort.
I was joking around with my wife the other day because my wife has long hair. Well, you know, so does my daughter. But it's one of those things where she takes a little bit long to blow dry the hair. And I said, what about, as a joke, what if I learn how to blow dry your hair? It's like, no, it's not going to happen. it was like for Valentine's, you know, that was kind of the side joke. Let me learn. I'll bring Andy. Yeah. Shout out to Andy Garcia. Cuts my hair.
Oh, yeah.
His job is to make me look like I have more hair. So he's kind of like, I'm fighting it. But shout out to him. I made a joke. We did a little video. I sent it to my wife. She thought it was funny. I think she thought it was funny.
Yeah. Well, I think you have to learn yourself. Like, there are some women, which I admire, like, your hair is always done and you look on point, and your makeup, and you can do the heels, and that's just not me. It's never been me. It's always been really hard for me to like be on top of the hair and the makeup and make sure my nails are done, and it requires more effort on my part. So something had to give, and for me that was my hair
and being comfortable in your own
and
skin.
I have a lot of hair,
right? And
it's curly, and it has a mind of its own. So
if you want to give me some, I'll take some.
You can have some. I have extra.
Thanks. The other part about little about it, like now with the family, I want to kind of go into like the balancing act. Like it's one of those things. Are you good at coming to work and separating both? Like, I know it's a juggling act, right? Having a 2-year-old coming here, I know at 5:00 you got to get out.
Yeah.
Traffic in Miami is not easy.
Yeah.
Like, talk about how you do balance that. I mean, and again, I've never seen you in a bad mood, so it's always one of those things where, like, how do you carry that? How do you kind of?
Yeah, we were actually just talking about that yesterday, Fabi and myself. And I was like, well, my son, he's getting over the flu, and he had like a really bad night, Monday night, and his stomach was just giving him issues, and we were up with him all night. And my husband was like, you know what, I'll stay home with him. He didn't have a good night. I'm not feeling well either. We didn't sleep. You go to work and I'll stay with him. And I mentioned to Fabi, I'm like, days like this, I wouldn't mind working remote, like working from home.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, you don't want to do that because you have that work-life balance. And to me personally, like I've always established I could love my job as much as I want to, but my son comes first.
Sure, 100%.
My husband comes first. So at 5:00, I have to be out because I need to make it to my house by a certain time because my in-laws take care of him, and it's like a whole circus.
It's a domino effect. I'm big on that. I'm big on work-life balance. Like everyone will sit there until you work hard, put in longer hours. I'm actually the opposite, and like try to preach it here. Like 8:30 to 5, come here, work hard, and go home.
Yeah.
There has to be balance.
If I can make it in a little earlier one day, or like Mondays are usually my day where I can stay a little longer because my husband doesn't work on Mondays, then I'll stay if I have more work to get out, or if I, just to make life easier on myself. There's always something to do.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, it's a non-negotiable. Like I have other responsibilities, and there's a hierarchy of, importance and priorities, and my family just comes first.
And I'm with you. I love that. That's something we preach here, and that's something I never wanted to change either.
Yeah.
I mean, so coming from the banking to insurance, has there been one thing that's been the biggest challenge? I mean, it's dealing with people, but anything specific that sticks out in your head?
I think just insurance is its own language. Like learning, all the different kinds of policies and like what business needs what needs to be covered, what sort of like risk is it? Is this, a medium account? Is this a big account? Is this like all those kind of like little details, like how much per door? Like there's still things that I'm trying to wrap my head around.
It's been 8 months.
Like what markets to go to.
Yeah, you're
like,
picking it up. You're moving. You're actually you're a fast learner, so you're picking it up. The
yeah,
lingo.
It's been rough, but I've done little classes and courses, and Fabi is just like, I like to jump in with both feet, so I'm down. Like, what can I do? How can I do this? And she's always very receptive with like questions. Like, hey, I have a quick question, and then I'll like bunch up my questions. I need to know this and this and this, and then I can get all these other things done.
And attack it.
And so, but yeah, that's been for me because the customer service, you're right, it's the same everywhere you go. You have to treat people with respect and be kind and clear and empathize. And, I email a lot of people, and I've jumped into that just fine. But it's the insurance aspect. Like I've had to learn from scratch. Is
it a difference? I mean, did you ever has your mindset shifted from banking being a job, or is it always viewed as a career? Or now this, I always look at this as a career, like being here as a career. Like my goal for you is to grow this in the specific profession, right? Multiple opportunities. Has it changed kind of your aspect or your mindset on it?
Well, for me, banking was always just a job.
Okay.
Like I had to pay for college somehow. And, I had my high school diploma. I had cash handling experience because I worked in the mall in high school. So like.
Oh, which mall?
Westland Mall.
Okay.
Hi, Leo.
Familiar with it.
Yeah, I worked at Bath & Body Works.
You're really ready for customer service. Right?
So I had that experience. I was able to secure the job. And yeah, I was just there because I could pay my bills. I could help my parents so that they didn't have to worry about my stuff.
Right.
And there wasn't much room for growth there. But here, like you said, there's always a step up that you can move. Like there's always more that you can learn. There's always more that you can grow. And I love that because I hate just staying in the same like ring of the ladder.
Right.
And that's not to say that one day like, I want to be like an executive or something. But I mean, there's that possibility. And
sure. The sky's the limit.
Ceiling exactly is where you put it. So
I thought the one thing I always promised myself I'd never do was getting into banking.
Yeah. You don't want to do that.
And for all my friends, I mean, I feel like a lot of friends got into it. I just never want to get into it. It's one thing I wasn't interested. I always looked at it too, I don't know. When it gets too corporate, it always felt like it became almost political. Like in certain banks, you almost got to go lateral to move up. And even though like they might, I've looked at it too. I had so many friends that started at banks. Like if you didn't have certain degrees, they also held it against you as well. Like what does that have to do with anything? Like your knowledge, your skills, but you're gonna, base my growth on a pointless piece of paper.
Yeah.
Right? A liberal arts degree. So it's almost becomes like a checklist type thing.
Yeah.
And I get it. It's a different animal. It's everything the opposite of we want to be here.
Yeah, and
right?
it's more about production than anything else. Like, did you meet your goals? Did you pass your goals? Like, how many accounts did you open? How many credit cards did you refer? And I was always like, I'm not going to refer somebody a credit card or a loan or God knows what else, a home equity. Look, you don't need that. Yeah. If you had a situation or you're trying to build your credit or you need, you want to send your kid to college or whatever, and you need to have a home equity line, great, we can offer that for you. But if you don't need it, I'm not going to help you get into debt. I'm just not going to.
I mean, that's a whole different.
And that was my problem. I wouldn't always meet my goals.
The conscience.
I just, no. I'm not on someone else's expense, So that was my issue, and that's why I didn't really grow. Like, I was up to teller supervisor, like, not on paper, but that I had all the responsibilities.
Right, all the same roles, responsibilities.
Yeah, but they wouldn't actually promote me because I didn't meet my goals. And that's fine. I mean, it's not my career.
Well, I'm glad they did it because then you're here.
Right.
You wouldn't be looking for a job, so we wouldn't have met.
So
yeah, going back to the resiliency, I did want to ask you if you're okay with it, like kind of like your previous experiences, right? Something that I know you've gone through that's it's. If you're okay with talking about it, difficult to talk about, like, and kind of why you're here, and which actually I want to bring it up because I'm just so amazed of how you're so charismatic and you're so positive no matter what happens, right? You're so in the moment.
Yeah.
Did you want to discuss kind of the previous scare you had?
Yeah. So actually, this year will be 5 years. I was diagnosed with cancer, and I had Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is like it's a blood cancer, but it's in the same category as like leukemia and like T-cell carcinoma, and it's in your blood, but it starts in your lymphocytes, which is like kind of like your immune system.
Yeah.
So I was not feeling well for a while, but I'm stubborn, and I didn't go to the doctor. I didn't get a checkup, and I was going through like other personal issues, and I just didn't take care of myself, and I ended up in the hospital, and they diagnosed me there. So I had actually just gotten engaged like 2 weeks prior, and then after like 2 weeks of being engaged, I was in the hospital admitted, and it's like the last thing that you expect when you get engaged.
How scary was that? I mean, is it almost like slow motion, like just hearing those words? I mean, health is the one thing you can't get back. It's literally the one thing I pray for every day. I'm thankful for everything.
Yeah.
I just pray for health. Like that's
so. I was not scared. Like, I know it's weird, but I just never had a moment where I was like, crap, like this is not good. I think, and I remember I was in surgical ICU for like 4 days because I had a procedure. Well, first of all, my tumor was the size of like an orange in my chest, and it caused a lot of like friction on my lung and my heart, and it was a lot of fluid like building up, and they had to take all that fluid out because that's really dangerous for like your heart can't really beat right and stuff. So I had all that taken out, and then they did a biopsy, and then like days go by and you're just like, okay, well, I'm just trying to like feel better now because you have like tubes coming out of you, and like it's kind of really uncomfortable and painful and whatever. But I went through all that, and then I can remember the doctor came into my room in the ICU, and he was like, oh, well, I can't tell you for sure, but, according to our lab tests, and we're waiting for the third-party lab test to come back because that will confirm, but, 99% you have Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is, it's a cancer in your blood. And then he didn't even finish saying the words, and they called the code blue, so he had to run out. And I was like, just left in the room with my parents, like both my parents were there, and I was just like, okay. I Googled it. I'm like, okay, Hodgkin's lymphoma, what is this? Oh, it's a cancer. You need treatment, whatever. I was like, all right, well, I remember thinking to myself, like, God, if this is going to be for a season, or if this is like where my life ends, that's fine with me. Like, the glory goes back to you, and whatever happens, like, I'm here for it.
So you had your faith, you had a strong faith prior to this. It wasn't after the fact.
Yeah. I mean, my parents were getting divorced and it was really ugly and stuff, but I was like, you know what? That's life. And sometimes you get ugly things thrown at you, and that's okay. I mean, with God, like the word says, with God, all things are possible. So that was always my like, well, if this is what's gonna be like mine, like this is my journey, this is my test, then I'm gonna do it like as gracefully as I can. And I tried to the whole time. Like it wasn't easy. It was crappy. I had 12 rounds of chemotherapy. So I had chemo every other Wednesday for 6 months. And then I did radiation. But I had my husband and I had like my mom and my dad, and I had a good support system. I had my friends like Nat and Ashley, and they like were always like throwing me under the bus. Well, you can't use cancer as an excuse. You're going to lunch with us. Like, wow. So I had my friends to like boost me up, and yeah, it was not easy. It was not an easy journey. But the whole time I just kept thinking like, this is going to be good one day. Like I don't see it now, but there's a blessing in this somewhere. And until you go through the storm and you look back, you don't really have like the maturity or the vision.
Or the context either. Like
yeah.
It's some things you say the words, but by actually going through it, you believe it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it actually makes sense. It exists.
It's easy to say like, oh, well, this too shall pass. But until it passes and you look back and you can see like, you can see all the good that was happening, all the lessons that you learned. And to me, the story is not for me. Like it's for somebody else. It's for me to tell, but it's to like positively impact somebody. Like I've spoken to people who have gone through it, or who know someone that's going through it, or their cousin or whatever. And I'm just like, oh, well, here's a tip. Or like, if you can't eat because your stomach feels whatever, then you can try that. And like, you just help people like go through it, and you give them what it looks like on the other side. Like you can get through it. If I got through it, you can get through it.
And then your just like your mentality, again, going back to like the stuff you've gone through, and you're just such a positive person. I mean, have you looked at being a mom also? Like, have you looked at how does that affect it? I'm trying to put into words like how you every day, like, is it more little things you just kind of you brush it off? Because I just feel like so many people drown in a glass of water.
Yeah.
Right. When that's just stand up. Like
yeah.
You're a testament to that, and it's just curious like how your mindset is.
I think like parenting for me has been like just a gift, because at least when we got married, they said, or when I went through my treatment, the doctor was like, okay, we'll try not to have kids for 1 to 2 years, because they knew I was gonna get married, and they're like, just try to give it a couple years. And I was married for 8 months and I got pregnant, and it's just been such a gift that I can't take it for granted. Like knowing all I've gone through. And then knowing like my desire has always been to be a mom and to be a wife, and I have the desires of my heart, and I don't dare be ungrateful for it, So yeah, there are times where it's hard, like, parenting is hard, and you're at your wit's end, and like you yell or you say something, you're short with them,
you're
or
human.
whatever.
You're human.
You're
so
human.
Right.
But sometimes I'm just like, okay, and I'll just pick him up. And like, they just want attention. So I just hold him and I'll walk away from whatever I'm doing and just be with him. Because he's only going to be this little for very little. And yeah, I try to take things with a grain of salt. Yeah. Like there will be rough days, and that's okay. He's going to misbehave. I'm going to have little patience. But tomorrow will be better. And that's it.
Well, I'm glad you told me that. Like I don't believe in excuses, but now I definitely don't have an excuse ever. Just listening to you and how you carry yourself, it inspires me.
Thank you.
So I thank you for sharing that. I knew, but I didn't know specifically what you went through.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine how hard it was, but the way you carry yourself and the impact, believe it or not, you're impacting everybody around you, big or small. It doesn't have to be like the not talking about anything monetarily, or just the way you carry yourself. You're an inspiration. So thank you for that. Thank you for telling me that. So I promise I don't complain. I don't think I complain. And I definitely will never complain.
You don't complain.
Ever
I don't
again.
think I've ever heard you like say a bad word about anyone, and nothing negative.
No, I'm trying to be positive.
Yeah.
One of the things that's now just hearing your story motivates me. Like I always use the example, like what's the definition of success? Like if I hear somebody else tell me about success is what you have, it's all bull. Like I'm over it. Like for me, success is being able to make an impact, right? Like what impact we're gonna do is to impact. Hopefully, if we can do well enough, I can make enough of an impact with you, with your family, right? And not. That's what I'm passionate about, like these days. And I love having these conversations. Again, I'm glad you're on our team. I'm glad you're here. I wish your reason. There's multiple reasons. You're one of the biggest reasons why this place is so special. I'm glad you hated banking because I hate banking too. And I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're on my team, and I'm just thankful you're here. And I'm so looking forward to the future.
Yeah.
What it holds for us.
Thank you. And you guys are making a difference. Like when you look out into the offices and you see like everybody at their computer, like you're providing not just a job, like not just someplace that I can come to work and like actually like what I do and like be happy that I'm here, but like it's stability, it's peace of mind, like you're taking care of my family, like by offering me the opportunity, like and taking a chance on me, like. So yeah, you're making a big difference in all of us, all of our lives, by being JAG.
I'm doing something right, but I mean that's the big picture.
Yeah,
that's what motivates me. I know all of us, just above anything. It's just about doing that. Even the guys here behind the camera, like all these guys. It's why I know I'm doing this stuff. I empathize for people that everyone, and it's funny. I like to joke around a lot. That's kind of one of my passions, which some people are finding out now because I have an outlet and I have creative people who help me, right? Tell me, Luis, that is funny because sometimes you think things are in your head and you don't do it. But being able to just kind of, when I hear people that aren't happy, like they dread, and I've been there. I've dreaded Sunday afternoon going to work on a Monday, and man, I empathize for those. My goal would be to help anybody in that situation change because it's just not a good way to live life and go through it every day.
And you guys have said it, like, it doesn't have to be JAG. Like, find a job where you're passionate enough that you get up in the morning, you're like, all right, I got to get to work.
Yeah.
And I love that, like, sincerity. Like, it doesn't have to be here. If you're not happy here, we don't want to keep you here because, like, we want people that not only love what they do, but, like, that are in it for the long run and that this is a family. It's not just like, oh, it's my workplace, but, like, we're here so many hours of the day. Like I spend time with you guys more than I spend time with my kid or my husband.
So
like,
might as well make it impact, make it the best.
Make it good and make the most out of it. And yeah, I've been there too. Like wake up in the morning, your alarm clock rings and you're staring at the roof like, damn. You got to drag yourself out of bed. And like now the worst part of my job is the traffic. But that's everywhere.
That's Miami. And then you get to come here and listen to my jokes. And
that's a bonus.
It's a bonus. That's a bonus. Thank you for you. I appreciate you. And thank you for sharing your story. I'm glad I heard it. I know now the whole story. And I'm just thankful you're on our team. And I'm excited about you and your future.
I'm excited to grow.